Yo, 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 and we're back. We're back. Welcome, welcome,
Hey,
welcome.
What's up,
It feels good to
everybody?
be back.
It does.
yeah.
Hello, world. It's your man, Jeff A. Smith, jumping off once again on Jump Off Live, and welcome to episode number 20. As always, except for last week, you could tune in live every Wednesday. With the exception of last week, we went 20 straight weeks if you include episode 0 before you missed a week. As always, you can tune in live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on our Jump Off Live YouTube channel. There you'll also find our past episodes, after parties, original ads, and the Anything But interview series. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell also. You can also catch us on Zingo TV, channel 250, by downloading the app, which is available on the iOS and Google Play stores. If you're on the go, you can listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and now Apple Podcasts as well. So there's no reason to not catch us if you missed the live show. Shout out to all the fans in the chat, and please be sure to keep your comments clean so we can post them on the screen. Couple of shout outs tonight, couple special ones. First and foremost, rather, shout out to my wife. We celebrated our anniversary last week. So, and we got married twice in the same year. So,
man.
shout out in August. Got married in March and in August.
Double dose of that.
Doubled it up.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
There you go.
A few other shout outs. I recently finished up an acting class, which was phenomenal. So, shout out to Perlman Acting Academy out of LA, John's old stomping ground. So, it's Joseph Perlman, wonderful acting teacher, acting coach. So, yeah, wonderful program out there. So, shout out to them, all the good folks over at PAA. And finally, it's Women's History Month. So, shout out to women, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Month. So, yeah. Because without you, there's no us. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody you see came out of a woman, right?
Be a sad place without no ladies around here. Man, it'd be a hard place to live.
What'd you say, John?
You're right about that. It'd be like prison, outside of prison.
Shawshank for real.
Yeah, if we ain't had no women on this earth, it'd be like prison outside of prison. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. As you can see, we have one member of Team Jump Off who's missing for this. I believe the second show that he's missed. JD is out there grinding, man. He got full disclosure. He taking care of business. He working hard, and sometimes the hours conflict.
Yeah, he out there stimulating the stimulus.
He's a stimulus checker.
Yeah, he's checking on the stimulus checks. Yep. He got a hat that says that too. I'm the stimulus check checker.
So hopefully he'll.
Hey, John, what's in that cup, man? We didn't know what's in that cup, man.
Ain't nothing but a little coffee. That's all. I don't need nothing in my cup to cut up now.
Exactly. So hopefully JD will be resuming the show next week, but we'll see. We'll stay tuned on that. But we do have a couple of members of Team Jump Off in the building. So first and foremost, we have the man, the myth, the legend, that dude named Dave. What's popping, that dude?
Hey, man, like I was telling JD, man, people trying to get their hopes about these damn Chicago Bears, man. This is my little soapbox rant, and I'm going to be done with this here. For everybody thought that we were getting Russell Wilson, you had your goddamn, I was going to say curse of mine, all right? Russell Wilson was never going to be here. We ain't never had a quarterback ever since I've been born, and I was born in 1980. Had a birthday on Saturday. Shout out to that there. But we weren't getting nobody, okay, people? Bears, get off that narcotic, okay? I'm done with Chicago like that, okay? It's a happier life not being a diehard Chicago fan like that for sports. Man, less stress. I ain't about that life no more, man. The grades are starting to slow down a little bit now. Man, just do that for yourselves. My Chicago Bears rant. Get off that train. Get off that Coke. It ain't worth it.
I've been off that train for a while, to be honest with you, man. I just because the hopes is always high at the beginning of the season, start off really well, and then would like Stephen A. say with Dallas Cowboys, what can go wrong?
We got Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
You went for Russell Wilson and you signed Andy Dalton. That should be the sign right there. It's like, you know what though? I ain't about this life no more. Like, yo, how many times can you keep shooting the heroin in your veins to your OD, baby?
Right. Okay. Also, we have
What's in your cup?
What's up, what's in your cup?
Do you see a cup?
He ain't got it. What's in your vein? Let me see your arm. Let me see your
vein
arm.
runneth over.
What's it mean? It's
his vein. His veins run up over.
Man,
yeah, boy.
It ain't the sip.
Oh my goodness, right? Johnny Dangerous. What's popping with you, man?
Hey, you know. Hey, you know what, y'all? I know we cutting up.
Okay, looks like I have some signal issues here. You guys back there?
Yeah, okay. I'm here. Johnny Dangerous.
Yeah, we here, man.
But yeah.
Can you see me?
Everybody good. Yeah, I can see you. I can hear you. Okay. Yeah, you good.
Okay,
you good.
All right, cool. Yeah, man, it's a good thing that we got somebody that's gonna be coming on that's gonna kind of keep us in check, I guess, a little bit, because we got some important things to discuss. But it's been a whole lot of shenanigans going on since we last jumped off, man. I don't know, man. You got a R&B artist out here breaking people's necks and all kind of crap, getting at it with their sons.
Oh wow!
yeah, we ain't even gonna have time to talk about that. Yeah, man.
You know what
people say?
Hey, hold on.
Everybody say.
Before you get into, John, before you get into that, let's bring our guest Jumper on right now, because I think we should have everybody on if we're gonna bring on some Kurt Franklin talk here. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right, man. Let's do that.
Oh,
hello.
Say it again. What's up, Doc? Get
it? Yes. Hi, everyone.
What's up, Zoe?
I don't touch a Kirk Franklin without me now.
Right? Exactly.
You know what, Dave did the right thing.
Okay, John, get started now. Did everybody hear that voicemail, that whole call, whatever it was?
Do a formal intro, Dave. Don't just add a guest and just.
Nah, she family now. But okay,
but the audience.
Yeah, I know.
We know who she is.
We bringing back Dr. Zoe. She was on a month ago. We had our COVID-19 discussion, and we figured, hey, we want to do this one more time again. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. That was a great segment last time, so I'm glad to be back.
That's what's up. I'm gonna add a little. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little Kirk Franklin introduction on how he would do it.
Oh no!
Just when y'all thought it was over, coming back for the second time again. Folks, put your hands together for the one and only Dr. Zoe Stallings. Come on now. Revolution. Come on. You want a revolution? Do you want a revolution?
Wow.
Hey, what my man Kirk said? I'm gonna break my foot off up in you. Break my foot off in you.
Yes. Like you could feel the rumble in his voice when he said it. Like you like, dang, like I'm glad he ain't talking to me like that. We some furniture moving around.
Y'all think he should talk to his 32-year-old son like that?
Hey, man,
that's a little bit too harsh. When you say,
I heard they have a tumultuous relationship. I didn't read all the stuff, but I know that this is not just an isolated incident. I know they have a tumultuous relationship.
No. Come on. If your son is 32
over the course of years, but
fellas, if your son is 32 and you curse him out like that, that ain't the first time he's cursed him out like that. Okay. He's had practice and training for a good long time with those curse words where they're coming out.
And I mean, and his son knows the buttons, like that trigger is right there and he knows how to push it. So, I always think I stay out of that kind of interference with the grown man. It's two males, right? Trying to butt heads. And so the level of respect that Kirk Franklin expects his son's not willing to give. I mean, I kind of respected him a little bit more afterwards, though.
Yeah.
A good cussing session. I was like, whoa, this is like Def Jam after hours. This is great.
Yeah, man. I think the funniest thing of it all, and you have to listen to it again probably, because I listened to it a couple of times. There was so much going on there in that short period of time. It was educational. It was
inspirational.
It was humorous. It was entertaining. There was so much going on. But the whole time, I wanted to say there had to be Kirk Franklin's wife that was laughing in the background.
Somebody was laughing.
Y'all heard that?
Yes, like there was a woman laughing.
Yeah, I think it was. He was like, "I will break your neck." She was like, "Wow."
That chuckle.
That was her trigger.
I thought it was a sound effect. I was like, "Is this a sound effect?" Because this chuckle makes it even funnier. Because the person is like chuckling and it hypes him up.
Cracking up. Kirk Franklin must have been standing on the dash of the car. He was on the dash, wasn't he? He was standing up. in the window. I will break your neck. She's like, how did Kurt get up there?
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah.
I'm shocked people would think that he actually acted that way. They're like, oh my God, how could Kurt Franklin talk this way to his son? Like, I don't know. He's black.
I'm just saying, the more you think it in your mind and you restrain yourself, the more fluid the cusses come out. So he's been cussing people mentally for years. He's been mentally cussing people out for it. It was like the cadence and the rhythm. He was like a rapper with it. I liked it.
Yeah.
So all he needed was a beat behind that.
Yeah, just a beat.
Hey, on Instagram, they already made a track to it already.
I'm about to say, did they remix it yet?
Yeah, they did. Oh, I gotta send it to y'all. It's on IG.
The remix is hilarious.
Ari Spears and DL Hughley had posted it already. They already had a video. Oh my God, it
was funny. I mean, do you think he should have apologized though? What do you think about the apology?
Hell no.
He owed us an apology. He didn't owe us an apology.
No, not us. No.
Him and his son.
Yeah.
You know, his son just happened to illustrate some of that. What PD would call that. I guess that Mitch assness.
Man, come on, that's best behavior, yo. Why would you record your pops and post it?
Exactly. After you triggered him.
Yeah.
And that's your pops too. So the son looks more bitch ass. I'm just gonna say. And they use that on CBS, people. Okay.
They said that on CBS.
Yes, they do now. Watch Cedric's new show. All right.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, the neighborhood. Yeah, we've been watching that since.
Yeah, that is straight. He recorded it and then he leaked it like he gonna look good, doing that to your pops. Like really,
he set that up.
Man.
He was waiting. He was waiting.
He was waiting. Of course, he had it all dialed up, and then of course, like Kurt said, he didn't hear the other part of the argument. He knew what he wanted to release.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He's like, gotcha.
Yeah.
That out of context. So on to, I'm not gonna say, well, yeah, more important news than this because this is not, you know what I'm saying.
Oh, he's only 5'1", JR. Oh, damn.
Yeah, he's short.
I mean, I knew he was short.
Yeah.
So Dr. Zoe, I feel like a lot has happened. Since the last time you were on the show. I think I read or saw 10% of the country is now vaccinated. Something along those lines. My numbers may be off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're inching closer to the mid-teens, so that's good. We're getting there.
Oh, nice. So are there any like you want to kind of give us a kind of a recap as to what's happened over the last month or so in vaccine and COVID land?
Yes. So last time I was here after my first vaccine, I had the Pfizer, which is 2-part. Now I am of the school of thought that get anyone that is available to you. But at that time, the only one that I had to choose between was Moderna and Pfizer. And when I showed up, the site that I went to only had Pfizer. So that was my selection process. I completed my second dose end of January. So January 28th. And now I'm fully vaccinated. So the definition of fully vaccinated means 2 weeks after your vaccine. So if you're getting a 2-part vaccine, 2 weeks after the second dose. If it's a 1-shot Johnson & Johnson, then 2 weeks after you get your 1 dose. And what that means for those of us who've gotten our vaccines is that there's actually new guidelines from the CDC stating that you can gather small gatherings with people who have also been vaccinated without a mask, which provides you with some sense of the fact that the vaccine is intended to protect us from mild to moderate, from moderate to severe disease. And so they're thinking it's relatively safe to be around others. Then the thought is, well, what if you're around someone who's not, or if there's no vaccine available, for instance, teenagers who are 16 and younger, there's no vaccine for them, young children in school, or people who may not have had the vaccine, then the person who has the vaccine, like myself, has a lower chance of spreading it to the unvaccinated. So there's still a decreased risk of transmission, even if the room has some people who were not vaccinated. The concern is the mixing of different households. So if you want to hang out with your neighbors, let's say the JumpOff crew wants to get together with their significant others and families, that's multiple households. So the CDC is still discouraging against doing so. But people from the same households or groups of people who've been vaccinated can get together in small settings. They are not relaxing the travel advisory. They're still saying stay in place unless you really have to travel and wearing a mask the whole time. So the social distancing when you're out and about in public still holds. We still want you to social distance in public. We still want you to limit your gathering, and we still want you to wear a mask, wash your hands, hand sanitizing is still really important. So it's not that we're going to roll back those measures. Some states have done so. There are some states that have done so. Yes, and I believe Mississippi as well. And the concern there is, are we going to see another surge? And the medical community, we are worried about that because our system is already still very full. We've been bombarded, and so we don't want to see a surge. Right now, we've plateaued, and we're hoping to decline in the number of cases. But we're still talking about more than 500,000 deaths still. We're still talking about 50,000 or so a day in some states, right? And so we are still concerned that the numbers are still high. We shouldn't get too comfortable, but there is some hope and breathing space.
Makes sense. We had a question I see from JR in the chat asking, maybe she already answered the question. So he's asking, do you still wear a mask? And if so, why?
Yes, and you still want to wear a mask. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially because when you go out and about, the more occurrences that you're experiencing, the more likely you are that you'll get some infection risk. And definitely, bars and places where it's really tight, we still don't want people gathering. So if you're around people and you want to hang out with your neighbors, you all hang out outside where it's well ventilated and, still maintain some social distancing.
Yeah, so it sounds like if you're vaccinated, you still don't want to tempt fate. So it's not like, oh, I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm about to be out here raw face and you can just spread all the germs on me, and I'm good. I got a shield.
The raw face. I love that raw face. I'm gonna use that again.
Yeah, that's Johnny Dangerous made that one up. No mask with raw face.
Right.
I see my one of my cousins, also one of the Jump Off Lives, a consistent viewers, Danae. She just posted a comment. She actually is on her way to becoming a doctor as well, and she's been getting vaccinations. Yeah. What she said, yes, you can still get COVID. The benefit of being vaccinated is that you are not at risk of being hospitalized or even death. Yeah, she's been doing her homework, and she's been giving vaccinations as well. Matter of fact, I think she gave my grandmother a vaccination. So shout out to
that. I love that she pointed that out, because I tell people all the time when they say to me, well, I got my vaccine, I can't get it and I can't spread it. That's not the case. And the vaccine, when you read the design, it is still to prevent moderate to severe COVID. That's what we're talking about with people who are respiratory failure, blood clots, stroke, heart attacks. So we still are saying to patients and to the general public, remember, mild disease is still a success. We still think that if you only end up with mild disease, you are still considered to be successfully vaccinated. But we don't want to see people with severe disease that will end up in the health system and clogging down the system, or more deaths, right? We want to prevent as much as we can. So that's important.
One of the major things we were discussing the last time was the apprehension that people in the Black community and people of color, but definitely the Black community, has and had regarding getting the vaccine. Have you seen any tides turning from that perspective?
We're seeing that people are more, I think that people are more open to hearing more, right? More discussions about the vaccine. People are also realizing that they're watching, right? So I think that the Black community in particular, they're kind of watching and waiting and seeing like, I'm going to wait and see what happens when those people get it. And since we have more time under our belt and people are doing well, that's a good sign. I see more people willing to take it and try. I feel like the elderly population has been probably the more receptive, because I think they were really afraid. But in the younger population, the thought is, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. Or if I'm going to get it, I won't die. And that's not the message we want to broadcast, because this can really affect a lot of people. We've seen households where grandmother, uncle, aunts, they have died from one young person who was carrying the virus and wasn't aware. So we've also seen young people who have lost their lives or been permanently diseased, where they're going to be on some kind of support, either respiratory support or dialysis or oxygen requiring. We don't want you to take this thing lightly. So when I hear, I see that the cautious kind of watching and waiting, and I'm okay with that. But while you're watching and waiting, you got to do all the things you need to do: your mask, washing your hands, making sure you're social distancing. And then, at a certain point, I feel as though it's going to be a test of faith, because we have so many things in our culture and in our community. We see that things that people have posted will go viral, saying you get the vaccine and it's set up by the government, and those things go viral, right? So sometimes a lie can make it around the internet in, like, what they say, 30 seconds. It's really difficult to kind of get in and break those fears when people are perpetuating it without any real evidence. So I think that we're seeing the watchful waiting. But as a Black physician, I make sure that I talk to people in real terms. Like, look, I got my shot, right? And I had my concerns. One of the designers of the Moderna vaccine, I mean, she's a Black woman from North Carolina. And so I still think that there are opportunities where we can educate. The health systems need to go into the community, though. I think we're not going to get a lot of Black folks going to the health systems are bringing the vaccine to the people. And I respect that.
Right. Speaking of bringing the vaccine to the people, you actually have a business that offers that service. Is that correct? Dr. Zoe?
Okay, there was a glitch.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go. What did you say?
Okay. No, I'm saying, speaking of bringing that service, vaccines and other type of medical services to people, you've been a prime example and a pillar in the community that you literally have a mobile business that brings that service to the people. Oh, we lost her. We lost her.
We'll get her back.
It's the man.
Oh,
it's the man.
we lost his own.
Trying to suppress the system.
I'll monitor
education.
Yeah, we'll get her. Oh,
there we go.
Yeah, we'll get her back in a second here. Okay,
right,
I think she's back now.
Okay.
Okay.
You good though?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I was like, what conspiracies are you talking about now? You see, they had to cut the power.
Yeah, I was just talking about
the man.
That was the man. It's a conspiracy.
It's the Illuminati on our network right now.
Yeah. So what I was saying, Doctor, in regards to some on the show, it was incredible. Am I cutting out too?
Yeah, a little bit, a little glitchy there.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and ask that again.
Let's keep it going. Yeah,
we definitely know it's a conspiracy. So what I was saying is that the last time you were on the show, it was excellent because you educated many of us. You answered a lot of questions, and you just poured this wealth of information in regards to COVID-19. And also one of the things that you shared with us is that you actually have a mobile business where you bring the services of a medical doctor to the people. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, great. What's interesting is that we have seen where for certain underrepresented communities, so we're talking about the Black, they always say Black and brown, right? But I always like to say Black, indigenous, people of color, so BIPOC. We are seeing where entering into the community has done so much more for trust and engagement. So I started a mobile clinic where it's primary care. It is a clinic on wheels, so full exam table and a bathroom, and we take it into the community and we see people where they are, making sure that they have that sense of one-on-one relationship, which minimizes risk of exposure to COVID. But during that process, we've realized there's so many barriers. Since I talked to you a month ago, I've seen so many more patients, and I'm seeing so many cases of, especially Black women. We're talking about Women's History Month. So I'm seeing where women have been able to open up to me about what they're experiencing. We're talking about colorism. We're talking about women who've had issues with hair loss, women who've dealing with menopausal changes, grief and loss. We're seeing senior citizens who have seen their friends die and are concerned about their mortality. Am I going to die? Am I going to die from COVID? And being in those spaces in a small setting like that has been able, I've been able to kind of overcome some of the barriers. One patient mentioned to me, going into a building where there's that high and low drinking fountain, at the entrances, you see those water fountains, triggers her because of her experiences through, just the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
So the more, I'm in the community, the more I realize that there's a huge need. And I'm really glad when I see that systems send out the clinics to give the vaccines to the churches. They're going through the community centers. So if you're in a Black, brown community, if you're in the south side of Chicago, west side of Chicago, if you're down here in North Carolina, wherever you are, because I know that this is on over the web, if you are in a community, you can usually see that a community center might be a place near you that will have vaccines very soon. So check with your county. Your county will keep a list of places where you can get the vaccine and you can sign up.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
We had a question in the chat asking, is any one vaccine better than the others? I know that's we don't get a chance necessarily get the chance to choose which one we get, but can you speak
Right.
to specifically too? Because I know the new Johnson & Johnson one, the one dose supposedly had a 60-something% efficacy rate compared to the
Yes.
Moderna and Pfizer. So can you speak a little bit more to one being better than the
Yes.
other?
So,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of patients will think about which one should they get, and I
Mhm.
usually say, get whichever one's available. The reason is that a lot of people are looking for a one-shot answer. They want us to get the Johnson & Johnson, but the production on Johnson & Johnson has been, you know, they're trying to ramp it up enough. So if that Johnson & Johnson is not available, I'm advocating get the Moderna, get the Pfizer, if that's what's available when you show up at the test site. For instance, the county that I'm working in, which is Guilford County, we're not seeing, we see each health system might get a shipment that might have 7,000, you know, doses, because they're beginning to push them forward into the communities. But in the meanwhile, they might have a ton of Pfizer and Moderna. Get which one you can get. You know, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to get that second shot because I heard the second shot is worse. When I got my second dose of Pfizer and when my colleagues got their second dose of Moderna, it was arm stiffness, low grade temperatures, fatigue, but for 2 days. So I think even then it's not severe for long periods. And you'll always hear some of the worst case scenarios where people get Bell's palsy, but I've also seen people get Bell's palsy from just stress. So I've seen Bell's palsy pop up from pregnancy. I've seen Bell's palsy happen for different reasons. So I think that we have to kind of get out there and get it as much as we can, you know, and this summer, I think May 1st, most areas are giving it to all segments of the population. So,
Gotcha.
yes.
There was a comment in the chat I had posted earlier, and I was thinking about what Charlamagne had said too, with the conspiracies of the Black community. It said, just go to the white community, and if you see a long line of white people, they're not going to kill them all, people. If you go to every city and you see the long lines where people getting a shot, and like I said, like we're seeing about what 5%, less than 5% of our people trying to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Think about it. They're not going to kill all the white people.
Yeah,
And they're not killing the healthcare
they're
system. They're not killing the doctors, nurses, the pharmacists.
Yes.
They're not killing the social workers, even the risk management department at the hospitals. They're not. Nobody's going to kill off their health force.
Think about it. If you see a long line of white people, get in line with them. That's the right line.
follow the white people.
Follow the whites.
Follow the whites.
Oh my goodness. On that note, we're gonna take a quick little break here. We have some more questions that we definitely want to have Dr. Zoe answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we have a few. Is this a what type of break is this? Is this a sponsor? Is it a PSA?
Yeah,
what
man.
is this?
It's we have another sponsor. You know, man, we get sponsorships just beating down the Zingo doors to you know, be on our show and introduce the Jump Off world to their businesses. And right now we know it's tax season going on. It's tax season, y'all, and a lot of us haven't filed our taxes yet. So today's sponsor has something to do with taxes. Hopefully it motivates us to get out there and file our 2020 taxes. That do what you do, man.
Dave, there's no audio.
There's no audio?
No, but we didn't hear anything.
Oh my God. That's my first epic fail, huh?
No, man, that's
Yeah, that was
wow. There was no audio?
We saw the picture, but we didn't hear any audio.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
I don't know.
God. Do you want me to play it again?
Yeah.
I my first epic fail.
We'll tell you in the chat, Dave, if the audio is playing, because if it's not, we'll just come back. So apologize to the audience, but let's try this again and pay attention to the private chat, Dave.
It's that time of the year again.
Can y'all hear now?
Tax season.
Yeah.
While some people look forward to possible returns, most people run from filing. Only asked for 3 bottles of ice cold wolf wine brew for he and his co-workers.
Still no audio?
So Dave, no. So soon as you bring the picture up, there's no audio.
Wow, that's an epic fail.
We can just play the audio.
Let me try one more time here.
Leave us on the screen. Don't take it off the screen.
Just play the audio.
It's that time of the year again, tax season. While some people look forward to possible returns, most people run from filing, knowing damn well they filed 99 exemptions when they should have filed 0, thus owing Uncle Sam some dividends at the end of the year. Here at Shawshank Redeem Your Taxes Inc., our tax expert, Andy, is highly skilled at preparing your taxes to put some money in your pocket and keeping Uncle Sam off your back. Andy is a self-certified tax expert who's a killer at getting you the figures you deserve. Trust, you don't want to end up behind bars being chased by the 3 sisters. Andy knows what that feels like. And because he believes that all taxpayer lives matter, he took one, well, maybe a few for the team, so that you don't have to. While most tax consultants charge a handsome fee, as a pillar of the prison community, Andy only asked for 3 bottles of ice cold wolf wine brew for he and his co-workers. Imagine that. You get your taxes filed, receive some change in return, and you didn't have to do anything strange. All that for a tub of wolf wine. Shawshank Redeem Your Taxes Inc. If all else fails, you will have enough money to just sail off to a beach in the Pacific. Jump off!
Wow.
Shawshank. Yes, sir. Redeem your.
Wow.
Yeah, man. We just got entrepreneurs out here.
Yeah.
I wonder what their rates are.
Man, they charge. Andy just charge a tub of wolf wine. That's it.
I mean, but there's got to be something else, man. If you got like something that, if you got a lot of stuff in the back end, you know what I mean?
He said he didn't have to do anything strange.
They tax you on the back end.
Yeah, nothing strange for the change.
Nothing strange for the change.
Oh man.
I'm on the fence about that one, Johnny Dangerous. I don't know, man. Like that's better than Quarantine Corey, but it doesn't take much to be better than Quarantine Corey. But that one still, I don't know, man.
Corey,
are you gonna resolve your beef with Quarantine Corey? How about
we'll talk about that next week. I got a little something for him next week.
Wow.
Shout out to Shawshank Tax Recovery Services. I heard or I saw that they actually further extended the deadline to file your taxes too into May, to late May. So
it's late May.
I never file my taxes on time, people. Don't worry about those things.
Don't hold me to that, but they extended. They further extended the date. Yeah. So check that out.
Peep game. I filed my taxes in freaking October for several years, and I got
that's that money. That's where the money resides over there.
Yeah.
I get my W-2s. I file my taxes by March 1st.
Yeah, me too. Immediately.
I heard that. Immediately.
I filed mine before I get my W-2s. So let me guess.
I filed so late.
You already know your figures, huh? Hey, so you hit up everyone like, hey, y'all don't even have to send it. I already took care of that already. You send them
my numbers to make sure it jives right, to make sure your system is.
I guess I don't want to do that then. I'm the one who filed taxes super late like that. I'm sorry.
October?
I mean, they owe you. They're gonna cut the check regardless if you get a refund. So
like trick or treat up in.
I like to see my checks at the end of the year. You know.
Oh, okay. Hey, we do have some more questions for you, Doc. That kind of accumulated in the chat here. So first, do you have info on the Sinovac vaccine?
But I think we were freezing a little. Okay, now can you? What was that?
Yeah. Do you have any info on the Sinovac vaccine? Sinovac. I'm not familiar with that one.
Me neither. Have you heard of it? The Sinovac vaccine?
Oh, okay. I pulled it up here.
I don't know the connection.
It's on the screen here.
There we go.
There we go. Yes.
Have you heard of the Sinovac vaccine, Doc?
Sinovac? No, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay.
That must come from Russia.
Sounds like a
my man
vaccine.
Well, that's Mikey. He's also in the healthcare field. So if you have another comment on that, Mikey, please chime in on that for us.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it looks like it's used in China, so I'm not quite sure.
Really?
Yeah. Because the different countries have different vaccines. I do know that.
And different manufacturers and different names.
Yeah. Like the AstraZeneca vaccine right now is getting a lot of negative press. In England, is it? I think.
Wow.
Here's a question from JR from earlier that I get a chance to post.
Okay, so for fertility. So if you're in the process of trying to conceive or you're taking treatments, hormone treatments, there has not been any indication that you would be contraindicated. So meaning the vaccine won't work against that. We actually want you to be as healthy as possible. So we do still say take the vaccine even if you're trying to conceive. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, they talked about the fact that even though there's not a lot of data to support it, their thoughts are that if they had to pick, they would recommend it. But the research is not in pregnant people or people trying to become pregnant. It's just that some people in the studies got pregnant. And so they have just a little bit of data there. So they still think it would be more benefit than harm. So we'd recommend it in pregnant women or women trying to become pregnant.
And Doc, correct me if I'm wrong, the vaccinations haven't been issued long enough for a person that was pregnant and received the vaccination to have a baby and actually see the effects, to that child after they have the baby, right? Because the vaccination has only been going on for several months now on the books anyway. In
general, vaccines don't really cross into vaccinations aren't an active drug going into a placenta and those things. What happens is that the vaccine allows you to make the antibodies, which your body makes those antibodies, and the antibodies can cross the placenta to the baby, allowing that kind of immunity. And that protects the baby for up to 6 months after they're born, because babies don't make their own antibodies right away. Right. So it's not like you're taking a drug. For instance, we tell people, don't take aspirin when you're pregnant because it can affect certain things, kidney function and all that. We tell women, if you're on an antidepressant, talk to your doctor. But some meds, like seizure meds, can cause birth defects. This is not the same situation. A vaccine, any of the vaccines that we're giving you, as long as they're not a live vaccine, they're they're considered very safe in pregnancy. And so what we say is, when a pregnant woman is taking a vaccine, she's taking it for two. She's taking it for herself and the baby. But what the baby's getting is the actual antibodies. The baby doesn't get to experience the vaccine. They experience the benefits, the outcome of the vaccine. Yeah,
the byproduct.
The byproducts, yep. Okay. The intention is to make antibodies for mom, baby gets some of those antibodies and it lasts for a long time.
That's knowledge. That's information that a lot of us didn't know. So, and weren't aware of, because, you know, that's education right there, because obviously, you know, we think of vaccination and anything that's in our body as it relates to a woman holding a child, that automatically they would be affected by that. And I think naturally we tend to think in a negative sense when it comes to, you know, vaccination, especially something new as the COVID-19 vaccinations. Last time we were on the show, I think we briefly touched on it. And then during this show, we've been talking about the community and the fear of getting vaccinated. And I can tell you this, Dr. Zoe, since you last been on the show and, you know, educating us as a community, and then seeing a lot more people of color or indigenous people getting the vaccination, I think the confidence of taking the vaccination has definitely grown. I know my wife is feeling a little bit more confident about taking it, because both her and I, just being transparent, you know, had a strong stance. I kind of still do in regards to taking the vaccination. But as it relates to the community, we talk about, Danae mentioned that only 1%, particularly I think where she's located, given vaccinations, only 1% of people of color were showing up to take the vaccination. Last night I was doing a little research on vaccinations, particularly in Alabama. In Alabama, and this report comes from NBC News. It says that Alabama's racial disparity in COVID-19 vaccination. There's actually been some racial disparity where certain communities of color, have not been receiving the amount of vaccinations to issue to people of colors. But the percentages says this: the white people, 54.5% were able to receive vaccinations, while black people were only at 15.2%. And you know, whether it's talked about enough or realized, it's unfortunate that our nation has embraced a hierarchy of human value based upon the color of your skin. Virus doesn't discriminate against one's ethnicity. Unfortunately, our nation still does. I do believe that there's certain communities aren't receiving the same amount of vaccinations towards people of color versus in other communities. What is your thoughts on that?
So I know that when we look at the numbers, and I never try to look at, when you look at per capita, so then you never, it's never a one-to-one thing. What happens in a lot of communities, and I've seen this across rural segments of our country, they distribute the vaccine in some places by zip code and in other places by county. Mm-hmm. And what can happen is, if there is, let's say Cook County, let's say where you are, if Cook County does not use up all their vaccines, which is not likely, is densely populated, but let's say Kane County, you know, it's a, you know, let's say a more rural county doesn't finish all their vaccines, people who have enough money to drive 2 hours and go get it will go. So what ends up happening is, when you're registered to take the vaccine, the card that you're finishing, your documentation is your zip code where you live. So some people will go and get the vaccine outside of their direct county. And the reason they might do that is, if you're in a, let's say that the county who receives it is largely Black or Hispanic, and they're not going to take it, they cannot refrigerate it. They have to use it that day. So what will happen is that county might issue a statement and say, anybody who wants to get the vaccines, if you can get here between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., it's open season. And when you show up, they ask you where you live, and they write down that zip code and count, you know, that county. So registration is different depending on where you are. The other part of it is, who is distributing it? If you're in a place that has lack of access to healthcare for general health anyway, you may not have enough people to distribute the vaccine in some of the rural centers. And remember, Alabama, we're talking about densely populated regions and then pockets of rural counties where there's a lot of difficulty with access. Then the other part is, who is going to, you know, set up the infrastructure that's needed? So yes, I don't think the disparity for the vaccine is any different than the disparity for healthcare in general. So this vaccination, actually this pandemic, I think blew the lid off of the problems we have in the American healthcare system.
Yeah,
and so
most definitely.
I don't think it's a new issue. The fact is, any of the vaccines, it was a hard thing to distribute in rural centers. Just like obstetricians and gynecologists aren't always, some people have to drive 2 hours to go have a baby. So when a friend who might, you know, is 30, 38, and she said, you know what, one of my friends told me that they have extra vaccines, and she drives to go get it 2.5 hours. a person who might be elderly might not be able to do that. And that person needs that vaccine a little bit more urgently than someone who's 38. So when you look at how it's distributed, we see a lot of issues with transportation, delivery, housing the vaccine. It has to be stored, especially the Pfizer, has to be stored at negative, temperatures. And so it's just a lot of complexity. So we're dealing with multiple levels of barriers. So in addition to the race, but I don't think it's just simplified to race. I think it's also poverty lines too. The people who are 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3 times below the poverty level. Those communities don't have big health centers like we would expect. They may not have the ability for a community, mobile unit. They may not have a big empty space that they can use that would be secure enough. And then the barrier of awareness and education too. So it's layers upon layers of reasons why you'll see a lower amount of vaccination in the Black community in parts of like Alabama, Mississippi.
Quick follow-up question. This is kind of in the same vein, JR. I was asking, do you have you seen a correlation with regards to vaccine based upon social economics? So a Black community getting the Moderna vaccine versus the upper middle class white community getting the Pfizer vaccine?
Well, Moderna and Pfizer have about the similar efficacy. And to be honest, similar side effect profiles. Really the only difference is the temperature in which it's stored. So to be honest, when a health system receives those vaccines, it is imperative that they try to make sure they use it as soon as they can. They can be stored, but the goal is to get them to the people. So to be honest, what you get in your community is literally just because of what the state receives. The state receives a certain amount, and if they get Moderna, they're distributing Moderna, and they use it up till it's gone. And if the next shipment is Pfizer, if there's a lag in vaccine production, or for instance, some counties are vaccinating their teachers, and they'll take a day and prioritize all the teachers, and some of the schools are reopening. So that might create a shortage in one particular type of vaccine. But okay. I don't see any particular preference or bias where one community is getting a kind over another.
Gotcha. Thank you. Jump Off fans, if you have more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We have about 7 minutes or so left in the show. John, that dude, any questions that you all have? Any follow-ups?
Yeah, man, this has been great. Always, anytime we have you on.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm back in class with a new groove, though, with a cool teacher. How long is the vaccination supposed to be effective?
So that part is where there's still that area. We're still collecting. So people receive the vaccine as early as summer of last year. So we're going to keep watching antibodies of the people who've been vaccinated to see how long the levels are staying at a certain level. So the research is ongoing. And so do we need a booster? Sometimes, there are vaccines that might last 10 years. Sometimes you only need one and we're done. At this point, we don't really know definitively yet. And we also don't know when we'll start to get one for children. So, my son wrote a letter to Kamala Harris. He's 10. And he said, I want to get a vaccine too. Don't forget about us. The thing is, we just need more data overall to determine how many we'll need and at what level. So is it going to be like a flu where we get one every year? We don't know. Or maybe it's going to be like pneumonia. We get it once every 5 years. It's going to be like tetanus that we get every 10 years. We don't know yet. Those determinations are going to be based on ongoing studies to see how effective it is over time.
Okay. That dude, you've been kind of quiet. You got anything, man?
I'm just absorbing. I'm a sponge, man.
What kind of sponge, brother?
Taking it all in. Nah, it's very good information. Yeah, I'm just letting Zoe spit.
Yeah, I know. Janae bars for us. Something. Yeah, I think she had like 2 or 3 sentences. If you guys can find it on the YouTube, Danae had posted something. But while we're looking for that, what was I going to ask?
I posted all hers already.
Oh, you did? Okay, good stuff.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Good. I like the diversity of the questions. That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you guys saw it though. Mikey had commented about what he had asked about the China vaccine, and said it's mostly Asian here.
That's a Sinovac one. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it seems like, from a societal perspective, we're trending. I know Mayor Lori Lightfoot was saying this summer in Chicago is going to look more like the summer of 2019 than 2020. So things are definitely opening back up for better or for worse. They already announced a a plethora of concerts at playing at Wrigley Field and stuff like that. So they're and they're still trying
Wrigley
to figure
Field,
out.
I'm good.
Right. I don't think it's any artist that you would be interested in, Dave. But
no, they ain't checking for us here.
Yeah. But
did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
But it's gonna be it's in my opinion, it's gonna be interesting because things are gonna be opened back up this summer. People are gonna be out and about because everything is way more relaxed than it was last summer. So I'm interested in seeing in the fall, how things are gonna be after 2, 3, 4 months of some herd immunity going on, but folks getting out and about and stuff like that. So just see what that combination yields and leads to going into the fall. So I guess time will tell.
Facts.
Yeah, it's definitely a timing thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a timing thing. I think that even if you're at a concert, I would bring a mask. I would still, think about it like the mask is going to be the next accessory. Just like when those Bluetooth earpieces came out, everybody had one. That mask needs to be the accessory of 2021 for the summer. Like that, go bling it out if you need to. Go add your favorite sports team. But I think that it needs to, we need to just have that consistency across the board and still wear our mask at least until we see that the numbers are truly consistently going down.
Yeah, I know me personally, I'm gonna be wearing a mask for at least until 2022. Until I'm saying, I would venture thinking I'm going to be wearing a mask even after those restrictions are lifted. I'm still gonna probably be doing it for at least a few months after that. And I've noticed, like me personally, I'm a pretty healthy person. I get a cold maybe once a year ish. You know what I'm saying, and I typically bounce back. But I've noticed since this pandemic started, knock on wood, I've been very good, very healthy, but I felt much better. And I think I've just by wearing a mask when I go out, I've inhaled less germs. So like I've been like extra good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, man, usually around this time I usually get a little bit of a cold. Oh, I didn't have a cold this winter, and stuff like that. And I know it's attributed to the fact that, of course, not going out as much, but then wearing a mask when I go out. I work from home, so I'm not in the office. So I've noticed differences with my own personal health. And I firmly believe it's because I've been protecting myself. So
right. So we're going to still have protection against pollen, dust mites, droplets
like
from animals.
Allergies.
All those things that are going to ultimately help us with our respiratory care. Mm-hmm. So I'm just, to be honest, I have all these different kinds of masks. So, it's just I actually find that I'm using less allergy medicine. I've seen less asthma attacks in my practice. I've seen people who normally would be in and out with sinusitis and bronchitis, less of that. Yeah. And actually, I don't know if I'm going to go back to a life of ever going to buffets. We were just wilding, right?
Man, I was thinking about that Golden Corral and
you were tripping
and stuff like that. And you just, it was the thought. People in the chat, please comment on this. Can you? Who in the chat is excited to go back to a buffet? Oh, that is crazy to me, man. Who wants that big chunk of meatloaf that somebody else brings?
Someone grab that piece of chicken and put it back. It's like, oh, I don't want this piece here.
It's funny how 2020 COVID-19 just changed the game with so many different things. Even just a regular conversation with somebody. We keep our distance now, even with the mask on. Back in the day, we'd be right here with it. Hey, what's going on? Tap somebody like, hey, what's up? Everything is this, every now and then I put my fist out and there's been people that say, oh, no. Here you go. Or they'll be like, hey, like
right.
Hey, buddy. Yes. I don't know where you've been breathing.
Yeah,
right. I don't know about y'all, but it's a dope fashion accessory too, man. I get stopped all the time with the mask I be rocking. I got to coordinate with mine, so I just like the shopping game. Kind of cool with it,
Yeah,
I'm telling you. It's been defining for us. Lots of different things that have come out of this. Even the way we get food to go now. Restaurants stepped up their game. They're more efficient. The little sauces are already pre-packed.
Yeah.
I just, I can't go back to the previous life. And then also the awkward events at offices that you kind of were suffering through. Like, I don't want to eat her food because,
Oh, we ain't eating Karen's food no more.
You don't have to do that anymore.
She got cats and COVID
paprika and potato salad.
I don't know what's in that meatloaf.
Regardless.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Those potluck days are done.
Too. Right. I know that it's not going to be, mass mandates for the future as far as like just, just something that's mandated across the board forever. But if these types of precautions are taken on a consistent basis, moving forward, I really do think there's going to be less likelihood of people spreading germs and diseases like they have in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I never even thought about, like, times I've had the cold, or I don't really get the flu like that. But like, so if I have a cold moving forward, I'm going to wear a mask when I go out to prevent from spreading that cold. Whereas other time, like, well, I got to go to the grocery store. I know I got a cold, but I'm just going to be coughing in the grocery store and doing what I got to do, grabbing these apples. But now I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm sick. I'm going to put a mask on. When I go to the store. Whereas before, I didn't even cross my mind to put a mask on when I'm going to pick.
Didn't even cross our minds to, now I'm wondering, did we ever wash our hands before? Like when we were running out of soap, hand soap. And I was like, what were we doing before? Why are we running out of hand soap? Because people were buying up hand soap, which I guess people were not buying that before. So overall, I think our hygiene will get better, but I also think people are drinking the teas and they're doing the ginger and the turmeric and they're trying to, elderberry. I think people are just going to probably be a little bit better about their vitamins going forward. If we can add in exercise, that'll be even better.
Yeah. Let this be a silver lining, people, with all
love.
Yeah, let this be a silver lining, because I think, well, hopefully this will be more motivation for people to really push the envelope and taking care of themselves, and to a point we made on a previous show, really working towards eliminating those underlying health conditions and not getting to the point where you do have the diabetes, the high blood pressure and stuff like that. Working to combat that, so when things like this come about, it's not ravaging your body if you do happen to get sick. So.
Absolutely.
Okay. Unfortunately, though, we live in a hard world where it's going to be people out there that just still going to be nasty and not follow any kind of guidelines or rules. And I know you were about to wrap it up in a second. Shout out to Eduardo. Eduardo's chiming in. We appreciate you from Spanglish, our biggest sponsor. We're under your network. We appreciate Eduardo that you do for us, man.
Yes, most
Dr.
definitely.
Channel 250.
Before Jeff wrap it up. Tell us again how we can get a hold of you and your extravagant mobile medical Mercedes. How can we get a hold of you?
So my Mercedes, yes, my clinic on wheels. You can find me by going to musclinic.health, but also at musclinic on any of the social media platforms. And then, of course, Dr. Zoe Stallings on LinkedIn. But the easiest way, to be honest, is just to go to my website, musclinic.health, or social media, Twitter, Instagram, I'm at musclinic. So that's the easiest way.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much, Doc. Really, truly appreciate you being on the show. I know this won't be the last time either. So, yeah.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Jump Off Live. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching for Jump Off Live, and we'll see you next week. Peace and love.
Bye.